Let's head out to the Bayou where LSU's 5-star weekend was going off. Now, let's start with cornerback DJ Pickett. You and I had some time to spend with him in Nashville. He told me, do not sleep on Oregon. Now, I know we're not sleeping on Oregon. LSU was this weekend. What are you hearing coming out of this official visit for DJ Pickett?
We're not sleeping on a few schools: Oregon, Miami, Florida, all with great seasons, a lot of runway to make a move for DJ Pickett. But coming out of this official visit and even coming into the official visit, I think it's been LSU setting the bar, setting the tone in this recruitment. It's because of Corey Raymond and what he's done historically at the position. Family has a connection with Patrick Peterson, and then you show up on your official visit and Patrick Peterson's there talking about his own process as a former 5-star, why he picked LSU. Corey Raymond, now he told DJ to take his time, go through the process himself and enjoy it. But what LSU's been able to do with the DBs historically, specifically with Corey Raymond, he feels so comfortable in Baton Rouge. LSU's got the number 2 class in the country right now, and I think that they're the one to beat for DJ Pickett as he continues through his process. But he's going to take it into the season. He's going to watch teams play. He's going to continue to evaluate his top options. So just because the pulse, I think, is a certain way right now, there's plenty of runway for some of these other schools to make a move. And you and I both are keeping a keen eye on Miami and the season that they're going to have with his family ties to Miami, his cousins playing there, his uncle played there. I've been to Miami a lot. They're Miami fans in the house. But LSU, this family, DJ Pickett, they're becoming big LSU fans right now as this process continues.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep with the 5-star thing. We're only talking 5-star updates in this LSU segment here. Khalil Lockett and Jaime Ffrench, they were both on campus, and they were both here in Nashville spending time with Bryce Underwood. We know Bryce Underwood was in their ear, and we also kind of know that, hey, LSU might have a little bit of ground to make up on both of these prospects, but what are you hearing after their official visits?
Well, Josh, we've talked about Jaime Ffrench a lot on this show, and we've said, look, Alabama led. He was at one point committed to Alabama. Then Ohio State led in the spring. Texas took command of this recruitment following a recent visit to Austin. But with that, things can change on a dime here. He was at LSU this past weekend. He told us Texas was his leader at the On3 Elite Series. Now he told me he's rethinking a lot of things after this visit. Of course, LSU. So, look, man, the quote from Jaime Ffrench on his visit. He loved it, just the brotherhood, the tradition, the culture itself, and the people in the building for sure. So LSU, at the very least, giving Texas a run for their money. They could be in pole position. Now, he's got his upcoming visit to Texas, so the Longhorns could potentially swing it back. And I thought, talking to Khalil Lockett in Nashville as well, that Texas was the leader for him. So Texas trying to sign a special recruiting class with DeCorian Moore. Also a top target, for one more on him later, as he was at Ohio State. But LSU, I asked Khalil Lockett if things were changing at the top of his list, and he sent back a lot of emojis that made me think that LSU is certainly gave him a great visit. And he just said the people at LSU make it special. When you go to the state of Louisiana, LSU runs the state. He talked about the culture, talked about not only the history of putting receivers in the league, but some of the best wideouts in the NFL right now are from LSU. So it's an attractive place to both these wideouts. And I don't think LSU is going to strike out on the two of these guys.
Right. Yeah. I was penciling in Khalil Lockett to this LSU class. We'll see how that works out. But Jaime Ffrench making a run at him, that's interesting. Let's move on to 5-star offensive lineman Solomon Thomas, and he's been committed to Florida State for some time now. Took his official visit to LSU this weekend. Steve, will the Tigers flip him from the Seminoles?
Look, Solomon Thomas was gushing about his visit yesterday, talked about Coach Brad Davis and just the standard that he holds his offensive linemen to. He hasn't seen that anywhere else in his perspective. He talked about Will Campbell and Emory Jones, the two bookend tackles that are going to hear their names called high in the NFL draft. He talked about it's Joe Moore Award or nothing else for LSU's offensive line. He just talked about the leadership position that those guys are in on the football team. Really impressed him. Look, I woke up to him sending me a bunch of photos from his photo shoot at LSU too. So we talked yesterday, Then he followed back up with some more LSU stuff today. LSU, man, they crushed it with him. Micah DeBose was another offensive lineman on campus that LSU, talking to sources that spent time with him, they think that they lead. People at Alabama around that program that spent time with him feel the same. So be interesting to see where that one shakes out. But LSU in the middle of it for two of the country's best offensive linemen following the weekend. Solomon Thomas is going to go to Florida State at the end of the month, sandwich a Florida visit in between. So we'll know a lot more coming out of those trips. But, man, it was a tone-setting visit for LSU.
All right, another 5-star recruitment that's heating up in LSU's favor is cornerback Dorian Brew. What's the intel after his official?
Well, obviously family ties to LSU. His dad was an All-American in track and field there. So they've been there a bunch. Now, you and I talked to Dorian Brew at the Odd 3 Elite Series. I got the sense USC was a favorite. Ohio State was right there. So I put LSU down as a dark horse because of just the family ties, Corey Raymond, and the tradition. And talking to Dorian Brew's dad, he kind of pointed to some of the high-tech stuff that LSU has to even make sure that the eyes of their DBs are looking in the right place where they're on the field. LSU has some of the best technology in the country for developing their players. I've heard quarterbacks talk about it. Now I'm hearing defensive backs talk about it, and that was really attractive. They also think that Dorian could play early at LSU, so that's another element that's working for the Tigers. He's still trying to figure out his official visits moving forward. He's got some set, but I think he's trying to work Ohio State in there. USC, again, is a favorite. Texas is supposed to be this coming weekend, so we'll see what happens with the Longhorns.
All right, now 4-star edge Damien Shanklin. He's from the middle of Big Ten country in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Notre Dame had been trending for him. A lot of the Big Ten schools were involved in him, and he goes to LSU this weekend. Now, we had spoken about this visit coming up, but I didn't really think too much of it until I saw on Sunday you dropped a prediction for Damien Shanklin to LSU. What changed on the visit?
Well, Josh, this started developing when he visited Baton Rouge for the spring game and got a chance to spend a lot of time with Bryce Underwood and LSU's commits. He felt like he really fit in with those guys. The fan support at that spring game, the way that they made Damien Shanklin feel around the program, they made it feel like home. Bo Davis was recruiting him at Texas, now recruiting him at LSU. That relationship is strong. He thinks that's a coach that can get the most out of him. Then he comes back for his official visit. He gets a chance to chill with the players. He really liked that. He feels like everyone's bought in for a championship, got to know the whole coaching staff. And I asked him if LSU was setting the pace for him in his recruitment at this point in the process, and he said, yeah. So the RPM is in to reflect that. They'll have to hold off programs like Ohio State, Tennessee, and Alabama, but LSU pushing all the right buttons through 2 visits with Damien Shanklin.
What a big visit for LSU. So Tiger fans, tap in with us, comment section below. How do you feel about the 5-star visitors? What are we thinking? Who could be next? And what do you think of Steve's pick for Damien Shanklin to LSU? Comment section below.